Hello everybody, how are you doing today? I was just sitting around streaming some Mega Man Battle Network 2, and Atlas drops a brand new trailer for Persona 3 Reload, the Junpei Iori trailer. And I wasn't gonna watch it. I've kind of reached a point in my life in which I will watch whatever comes out for a game in terms of like trailers, gameplay footage, yada yada yada. I'll watch that until I'm satisfied. And then once I feel like, yep, I'm getting this, I don't need to see anymore, I just stop. And as soon as I saw the Persona 3 announcement trailer, I was like, cool, I don't really want to see anymore. I'm not exactly like jumping up and down like, oh my god, I'm super excited. But, you know, I was like, yeah, this looks good enough. I'm excited. Yeah, let's go. And then I just was going to sit there. But then I thought people got upset at some of my concerns that I expressed in that original impressions video I made all the way back in June. And I thought, hey, how about I give some updated impressions? Now, for those who don't know, if you want, you can go back and watch that video. I will link it in the card in the top right, so you can go watch it. Link it right now. But if you don't want to go watch it, I will give you a quick little summary. I thought the models looked great. I thought the environments looked empty. I thought the lighting in general kind of looked flat and honestly too bright. The game is really saturated, whereas the original game was very dark. And that was something that I felt was kind of purposeful. But this remake, it's a lot brighter, so that was something I had noted. I was concerned about the replacement of certain animated scenes, like the 2D anime stuff, because I loved how in the original P3 they were creative and they took advantage of the 2D medium to make some really cool visuals that would be a lot harder to execute to the same degree of success in 3D. And I was worried that they would be pulling back on that, they would be replacing those and making them nowhere near as cool or as impactful. I was kind of half and half on the UI. For instance, I thought the pause menu looked amazing, but the battle UI to me was too simplified and it was boring. In general, some of my hopes at that time were party fatigue. I could really take or leave, but I'd prefer they kept it in favor of streamlining it. I desperately wanted Tartarus to be better, and I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, Tartarus sucks. I desperately wanted party members to be unavailable some days, whether due to being tired or having to study or wanting to hang out with friends. It was always an aspect of the original Persona 3 that I adored, and I don't want that to go away. I don't want them to get rid of that. I wanted them to keep the answer and FemC, preferably the answer if it had to come down to one of them. And it's because the answer is canon and more important. I know FemC is overall better, but hey, you can keep the answer and make it, good. Also, again, it is canon. It should be more of a priority to keep it in there. But sadly, one of the few things I do know about Persona 3 Reload is that it's not the answer. It doesn't have the answer. It doesn't have FemC. And that is very, very, very disappointing. So, I have now gone through all of the English language trailers. The announcement trailer, the English gameplay reveal, Meet the Seas, Conflicting Fates, Iwatodai Dorm Life, The Hero's Arrival, Enter the Huntress, Gekko-Khan's Class Clown, all of the ones that are in English. I have not actually watched any extended gameplay footage or anything, but what I have done instead is I've looked up online and researched a lot of details like gameplay changes, story changes, new additions, that kind of thing. So, the question here, am I still concerned about Persona 3 Reload? Not as much as I was originally, but yes, I still have some concerns. But before we get into the concerns, let's go over the pros, just because, I really want to hammer in that I am actually very excited for this. I think this looks really cool. I think it's really good. I am, those concerns are only, maybe 10% of my overall feeling towards this game. The other 90% is just straight up positive. The models are amazing. They always looked amazing, and the best part after watching all of this is it also looks like they're going to be appropriately amazing animations along with these models. It seems like Persona 3 Reload has a much greater emphasis on end-engine cutscenes as opposed to the, the stock, we're just gonna have them stand around and we'll do some basic animations that get recycled a lot. It looks like there's a lot more of the ones that actually have crafted specific to this moment animations. We saw a little bit of that in Persona 5, where like all of the awakenings, they all end up, these are hyper specific cutscenes in which they're doing specific animations that are not used anywhere else in the game. It looks like Persona 3 Reload is going to be doing a lot more of those, but for tons of different situations. And I think that is great. Those kind of cutscenes in Persona 5 were some of my favorite. I thought they looked better, I'll be totally honest. Joker's Persona Awakening, it's a lot more underwhelming when I compare it to how like Ryuji's looks or Ann's looks or like any of the ones that are again in engine. I prefer those to how kind of Joker does, because the longer I looked at it, the more I would just start to kind of pick out some of the flaws and like some of the budgeting. I think these in-engine ones look a lot better in P5, and it looks like P3 Reload is going to be using them a lot more as well, and I am so happy about that. There's also just like way better attack animations. They look more like how the Showtimes did. It looks like Showtimes, but just for like really just normal ass moves. There's also the Link episodes. That is going to be something new for this game. I think it is a great idea. I really wish they just gave the male party member social links instead. But, well, honestly, the dream would be to have both Link episodes and giving the male party member social links. But I think this is still really good. I just would have preferred they actually gave social links to the male party members, because as it stands, it's still going to be kind of like this awkward missing part of the game where Junpei, Akihiko, all of them, they're just not going to have them so long as we're playing as Makoto Yuki, and I wish they got them. I hope Link episodes are properly telegraphed when they happen, because you can miss them. I really hope the game will actually like give you subtle pushes, or like even tell you, hey, there's a Link episode over here, you should probably maybe go do it. Or just nod and be like, oh, hey, Junpei's over here, maybe you should go take a look at what Junpei is doing. I really hope it's not just a situation where you just gotta know to go there. Or at the very least, I hope the game tells you when you miss one. They did include this new like turn back the clock one day mechanic. I don't know how far that goes. I don't know if you can just keep using it and go back like an entire month, or if you are limited to just the one day. Regardless, I hope the game at the very least makes it clear when you miss one. It would suck to find out like, oh, there was one I could have done a week ago and I just didn't know it was there, and the game didn't tell me that it was there, and the game didn't tell me that I missed it. That would be really, really annoying, and I feel like it would greatly hamper these Link episodes. The new voice actors. That makes complete sense. It's a new take on the original Persona 3, so of course it makes sense to want to have new takes on the cast for this game. All of them sound like they aimed for the same general sound, but they're not exact matches. It allows the characters to sound familiar and the actors to kind of put their own spin on it. So, like, for instance, Junpei Iori is now being played by Zeno Robinson. It's the same general sound. It sounds like a really good, I don't want to say impression, but it sounds like the same general vibe as Vic Mignogna's. But you can still tell that Zeno is putting in his own spin on things, and it sounds really, really nice. The one character that I am going to give a little bit of flack to, not flack. I mean no ill will towards this voice actor. I can't get into Akihiko's new voice. It is no ill will towards Alejandro Saab. It is purely just the fact that Liam O'Brien's voice is so unique and it's so specific. I can't hear Alejandro's voice and think, yeah, that's Akihiko. Everyone else I can listen to and be like, yeah, that's totally Junpei. That's totally Yukari. That's totally freaking Ken. Like I can listen to it and be like, yeah, I can accept that. I just can't really do that with Akihiko. It's just Liam O'Brien. He's just so specific, and that's gonna take some getting used to. One voice actor that is sticking around, and I'm really glad they're sticking around actually, is Tara Platt as Elizabeth. Elizabeth is my favorite Velvet Room attendant. I think Tara Platt does a fantastic job. It also just makes sense because the Velvet Room transcends time and space. And of course it would be the same Elizabeth. Why would it be a different one? I'm also really glad that Atlas seems to be making better use of the dorm building as a hangout spot. To me, it always felt underutilized in the original game and even in Portable, especially when you consider just how big the Iwatodai dorm is. It felt like this place existed exclusively for cutscenes and nothing else. The only place you could actually really go and do most things was your dorm room. What about these hallways? Like, there are clearly little areas to hang out. Like, it always kind of bugged me that these areas were just kind of there. So I'm really glad that they're actually taking advantage of this space. Another space that it seems like Atlas is going through and fixing up is Tartarus. Now, I need to see how it plays before I judge the dungeon crawling. But at least visually, this is so much better. Everything looks so much more memorable, and I feel like I can just tell which block is which apart now. It looks like they actually went in and made genuine visual differences that aren't just, oh, this is like a dark blue, and this one is like a dark gray, and this one is like a dark purple, and they actually look different now, and oh my god, that goes a long way in its own right. Now, in terms of the random generation, we're gonna have to see whether or not this randomly generated level design will end up working for me. If you don't know, I've never actually finished Persona 3, even though I have tried multiple times and I've gotten pretty damn far multiple times. I just always give up because of Tartarus. I hate Tartarus. My eyes glaze over and I can't. It's so bad. I hate it. I really hate it. Kind of going off of the gameplay, going a little bit into combat, Baton Pass is being added to the game in the form of the shift mechanic. I'm a little surprised that they're calling it shift and not just keeping the name Baton Pass. I feel like that's something that just works for... I don't think Baton Pass is a name that is, like, it only makes sense in the context of thieves. Like, no, I think you could still call it that, but shift is basically the same thing. And you know what? Import all the Persona 5 mechanics. I don't really care so long as it is an improvement that does not detract from Persona 3's themes, and I'll kind of be getting a little bit into that later on. But yeah, I keep Baton Pass. I'm totally cool with that. I'm also really happy that fusion spells are still here, but they kind of been reworked. Rather than it just being select the spell from a list, instead it's the Thurgy system. I hope I'm saying that right. You fill up the gauge to use the spell, and each character has their own, Thurgy gauge. And how it fills up will differ depending on the character. Or rather, it will fill up at different rates depending on you doing certain things with that character. So say, like, I'm just guessing here. I didn't really see a good explanation of it, but I'm just guessing this is how it'll work. Junpei, if I remember correctly, Junpei uses Zio? No, he uses Agi. I can't remember. But like if you exploit, like if you do one mores with Agi or something, that will like fill it up more. Yeah, sure, totally. Give more reasons to like play as these different characters and make them feel unique and different from each other, and that they're not all the same person or the same unit, because that's just a major theme of Persona 3 is the fact that everyone is different from you, and it's about overcoming those barriers and those struggles to try and connect with people. Now, I'm gonna get into some of my concerns. There's not as many of them. And honestly, I will say things like, oh, this looks kind of empty. A lot of those have kind of been dashed the more I've looked at it now. But one complaint that I still have is that the lighting to me still looks flat. Not everywhere. I will say there have been a number of areas in these trailers that I think the lighting looks really, really good, especially at sunset. It looks so good, but there are still a couple of places where the lighting looks bad. Probably the most egregious to me is the dorm. The dorm's lighting is awful to me. Everything is evenly lit. There's like no shadows. And the only shadows that are there are like the baked in ones. They are not enough. They just look so bad. Everything just looks blown out. It does not look good to me. I don't know why this is the one area that Atlas just seems to be really struggling with. I'm also still concerned about the new 2D anime scenes. I haven't seen one in full yet. I don't know if we have a full anime scene just yet, but my main worry with them is that they're going to be a lot more basic and less artsy. from what little we've seen, they seem to be more like Persona 5, where it's just straightforward, where it's like, we're gonna have this moment that we want to really draw your attention to by having it be anime. And that's fine, but Persona 3 took advantage of the anime scenes to get weird and artsy, and I like it a lot, and I don't want this game to lose that. That is just, that's a concern that I feel like is not going to go away until the game comes out. And if I had to be totally, completely honest, I'm not very hopeful. I am concerned about that. I don't know. The condition system is gone. So the whole thing about fatigue, getting tired, being really amped up, all of that is gone, at least on a gameplay level in terms of like going into Tartarus. We don't know if this means certain party members will not be able to go to Tartarus some days, either because they're tired or because they have to study or yada, yada, yada. I don't know if that technically counts as the condition system. If it doesn't, then ignore this. I have like little to no real opinion. I mean, it does suck that they're cutting this mechanic, but it's also like, take it or leave it. I just want Yukari to be like, hey, I can't go to Tartarus today. I have a test tomorrow. I can't go. And I don't want them to get rid of that, because not only does that force me to vary up my party, but if they were to cut that, to me, that would be a huge hit to Persona 3's themes and its identity. The game is about other people being difficult to connect to because they are not you. That's why in the original release and in Fez, you could not control your party members, because they are not you. And if you want to try and streamline it and make it more accessible and easier for people to actually get into it, fine. But little systems like this still retain and can do a lot of heavy lifting in getting that idea across. And I don't want it. I feel like this is the thing I'm actually the most concerned about, even though it's such a minor detail. To me, that is such a shining example of what Persona 3 is about. And I don't want them to cut it. It's one of my favorite things from P3. And I understand why they would get rid of it in the later games, but it's just like, don't get rid of it in Persona 3. Let them keep that. Hot take, Shuffle Time sucks. I am not a fan of Shuffle Time. I was not expecting them to not include it. I'm just going to deal with it. I just would have preferred if not Shuffle Time. I don't care for Shuffle Time. I'm sorry. I don't like it. Give me negotiations any day of the week. And now here's a few things that I wanted to comment on that I'm kind of indifferent on them, but they're just some thoughts. It's neither a pro nor a con. The first thing, Cs have battle outfits now. A lot of people are really excited about this, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be excited or anything. Honestly, I think it makes complete sense. My concern, not a concern. Well, it's not a concern with the battle outfits themselves, but it's more like, it's me overthinking. But I really hope this isn't indicative that Atlus now has to make every mainline Persona game. It has to fit the tropes of Persona 5, even though the tropes of Persona 5 were made with that game and that story in mind. Things like the Thieves outfit make sense for that game. Things like C's battle outfits, that could also make sense for P3. But if they were to remake P4, I don't think giving the investigation team investigation outfits, I don't know if that would make sense for them. And I don't know what this could mean for P6. Like, is P6 gonna have a Phantom Thief outfit equivalent? I don't know. Maybe it's something I could go more into, but hey, outfits are cool. Here, I'm totally fine with it. I'm just a little concerned about what it could potentially mean later down the line, and this could also just be me. I don't know. I might do some thinking about this, maybe make a little video on it. Who knows? Whatever. Now, some people had some concerns about how Reload was going to be handling the character of Yuko. Specifically, in the shot, there's this one shot in the Makoto Yuki, the hero, the protagonist trailer, in which you can see Yuko, and she looks way whiter than she does in the original game. People are scared that they might be whitewashing her. I totally understand that, but I don't think there's anything to worry about here. I think what's happening is just a matter of lighting, which this is another shot that I think the lighting just looks bad. If you look at Kazuchi's portrait versus his model in this same shot, the model skin looks just as bright as Yuko's, yet in his portrait, his skin is still clearly dark. You can also compare it to the light-skinned NPCs around them, and their skin still looks darker than them. There's also the drugstore owner later on who has the same thing going on, where there is a harsh light on him, where he looks a lot whiter, but then you look at his portrait, and he's still dark-skinned. I will say Kazuchi's skin in the new portrait does seem brighter than the one in his old portrait, but like I kind of said, everything in this game just seems to be brighter than the original. We'll have to wait and see for more Yuko to be revealed, but I'm personally not worried about this aspect, but I wouldn't blame anyone if they are concerned about any potential whitewashing. I don't think that's what's going on here. I think it's just a lighting thing. Look who's right! Look who's right! The lighting in this game, it's not great. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is the moral degradation of society, and I think Atlas West has done something awful here. Man, Atlas never should have opened a Western branch. They never should have released their games over here in America, because that's a gay. That's a gay. Look at this. This is clearly Atlas West's fault because it's California. Look at it. There's a gay in Persona. This is never has Atlas done a gay in anything, let alone Persona. The woke mind virus it's awful. It's awful. Someone needs to go over to Atlas Japan and tell them, hey, cut it out. Don't listen to them. Stop it with the gay. Get back to what you were doing 23 years ago. Get back to Persona 2, specifically Innocent Sin. You need to get back to that one. No gay in that. This is a bisexual only household, and I will not have anything else take up residence here. Please like and subscribe, comment down below, and you guys have a nice day. Oh, and check out my Patreon. I would really appreciate it. You can get videos 24 hours early for as little as $1. I love you guys. You have a nice day. What do you think about Persona 3 Reload? Were you scared at first? Are you feeling better now? Or maybe the other way around, where you're feeling really happy and now you're concerned? I don't know. You guys have a nice evening. I'm gonna go... I don't know. Goodbye.